part 2 of the lectures that you need for making the responsive eyes of different facial expressions homework assignment. So hopefully you did the practice and you feel comfortable with making those different if statements and changing right now just between 4 shapes that are happening on mouse click and having it cycle through. Please do that practice before you continue on. So in this part, we're going to make things interactive, which we've already done before, and then talking about how you can remap the values of mouse X and mouse Y. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about like how to change the values of mouse X from 0 to width to instead 200 to 300. So when I'm over here, the value is 200, and when I'm over here, the value is 300, for example. Okay, so the next thing is adding movement. So you can do this on your practice sketch or on the sketch from the previous PowerPoints. And to do that, we're simply going to remove our X and Y and make this mouse X and mouse Y. And make this one also mouse X, mouse Y, and mouse X, mouse Y. Oh, this is a triangle. So this one has to be various stages of mouse X, mouse Y. So I'm going to make this mouse X and make this mouse Y, and now they're 200, 200. And so this would have to be mouse X plus 50. Mouse Y minus 50. Mouse X plus 100. And mouse Y. So remember, that's just like doing our alien. Okay, and let's just test this out, make sure this is working. So this guy is moving around, I click, I have this one moving around, I click, and I have my triangle moving around. To make it a little bit more similar to what you're going to have to do for your homework assignment, I'm going to add a second ellipse that is going to be smaller and is not going to move. So I'm going to set this one to be right in the middle of my screen, 250, 250, and I'll just make it, let's see, I'm going to make it 10 by 20. So something smaller than the one up here. So that one will not move. Actually, I guess I should make it bigger. All right, whatever. So we have one that's moving and one that's not moving. Yeah, let me correct that. I'm going to make this one to be the smaller one, the one that's moving. And I'll make this one, whatever I had. I'll make this 50 by 70. Press play. Okay, here's my rectangle. So I have this little eye. Oh, I need to put no fill on this little guy. This is going to be my pupil, and then what could be the eye socket not moving, and then I have my triangle. All right, so let me just change the order. So this one is in the back. And okay. All right, so that is just simply stuff like we've done before. If you have something that has multiple X and Y points, you have to make sure that you're doing the mouse X plus 50 or minus 50, anything like that. And for the sake of this example, I'm going to have one thing that's not interactive in this one option with something that is interactive. Okay, and you have this example here if you're following along with the PowerPoint. Now let's talk about the remapping. So we're going to remap both mouse X and mouse Y. And as I said before, originally mouse X goes from 0 to width, but I want to change its values so that even when I'm all the way on the left-hand corner, I'm all the way over here, but my pupil here is only going to, let's say, like 200. And when I'm all the way on the right-hand corner, this is moving, but it doesn't follow, it doesn't leave the face, but it only goes to like 300 or something like that. Maybe the numbers have to be smaller. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to use the function map, and I'm going to make a variable. So I'm going to have a variable that's called X and a variable that's called Y. These will each equal my mouse X and my mouse Y. They are float types because mouse X and mouse Y do have decimal values. So I have a variable float X, and it's going to equal map. That's a system function. That's something I cannot change the name of, so map. And the way this works is I have my parentheses and I give it multiple arguments. the first thing argument I give it is, what is it I'm remapping? I want to remap the value of mouse X, so that's first. The next two values are, what's the lowest value that mouse X could have, and what's the highest value? Lowest it could have is 0, and the highest it could have is width. What do I want the new values to be? 200 and 300. And then I did the same thing for my mouse Y. I made a variable, and I'm calling it Y. I'm having equal the function map, and then mouse Y is what I'm changing. Its value is 0 to height, and its new value will be 0 to 400. Okay, and then I have here just sort of breaking that down in the next slide. So let's go and add this into our sketch now. Going back to this one. So I'm going to notice I am doing this inside the draw, not up at the top. So float X equals map. And then what am I mapping? Mouse X. What's its lowest value? 0. What's its highest value? Width. What do I want the new value to be? I'm going to say 200, and then high value will be 300. And this is just a starting point, and then I can change that. And then do another one for Y, which is going to equal, again, map. And you see how map turns blue? That means it's a system function. I'm remapping mouse Y. Its values are 0 to height. And I'm going to now change its value to 225. Is its, low value, I'll make it 200 as well, and only allow it to go to 250 as a high value. Okay, now I need to use those variables. So instead of having mouse X and mouse Y in my shape, I'm going to have X and Y. X and Y, oops, not U, X and Y. So X, Y, I'll change all of these. Oops. Okay, everything else stays the same. And now let's look at this. Okay, so I can move my mouse all the way to the side, but my rectangle is now restricted to the new values I have mapped it to. I'm going to click, and now here I have this my little pupil, and so you can see it's not staying inside my eye socket, so I would have to change those values. I click on this one, and this is also restricted. I'm all the way over here, but it restricts how far. So let's see. If I want to work on this example of, this is my pupil, and this is my eye socket, and this is at 250, 250. So maybe I can't let it go all the way to, so far, maybe it has to go only to 225. And so 250, so 275. I'm gonna make these values even smaller. And then I'll just first work just on the X. Let's get to that one. So now, yeah, it can almost leave, so I have to make it still even just a little bit smaller because it can kind of leave the eye socket. So let's make it 300. So I'm moving in closer. Sorry, 230, 230, and 265. I think I want to make that bigger as well. I'm going to make this a little taller. Okay, so now here it is, and I'm coming down here, and it can go just a little bit outside the eye socket. So now I'd have to control the height, but you can see how on the X, you can't leave even if wherever I am. So now in terms of the height, I would also have to restrict that. So maybe just bring that down to like 225. And then here, I think I can let this go down a little bit lower, 260, for example. Move over to that one, and now, yeah, he's kind of stuck inside. So it's following me, but it's stuck inside the eye socket. Okay, so that's how you do the remapping. Just remember the steps. So I'm remapping the values of mouse X and mouse Y. I make a variable. I'm doing this inside the draw. I have it equal map. and then I put in my arguments, and then don't forget the step about using those variables in your shapes. Now, not everything for your faces will be moving, only the eye sockets. Maybe you want to have some hair following, or you could have eyelashes following or something like that. But the main thing is that the pupils themselves are moving, so they're following the mouse. All right, let me know if you have any questions about that.